So get yourself set up, roll out your mat or whatever it is you are practicing on today, and we will slowly get ourselves started, grabbing any props that you would like to have around you, and we'll begin in a child's pose. So you can take yourself there as we slowly begin. Setting the scene for yourself with any mood lighting that you would like. So come on down to a child's pose and support yourself in your child's pose. So if you're not comfortable, you could roll up a towel or a blanket and place it under your knees. Knees as wide or as narrow as you'd like, for a little extra padding on the fronts of the knees. Or if the backs of the legs are sensitive, roll up a towel or a couple of pillows. Hello, thank you for joining us. Those are just welcome for those of you who are just joining us. We're just getting started, so come on down to your mat and we'll begin in a child's pose. So get yourself set up with any props that you would like around you. And if you're new to me, welcome. My name is Hayley. We'll be together for about an hour for an all levels yoga class. So knees down, wide or as narrow as you'd like. You can roll up a pillow or a blanket and place it behind the knees if the backs of the legs are sensitive, or double up your mat or roll up a towel and place it in the fronts of your knees if the fronts of the knees are sensitive. Or you could use something as well to support your forehead. If the forehead doesn't quite reach the ground, you could also double up your hands or your fists. And if child's pose is not feeling good for your body today, come up to a nice comfortable seated position, either cross-legged or with your legs a little bit further forward if you would like to offer your body more space. And we'll just take a moment here to allow ourselves to settle in whichever shape it is that you've chosen to take. And just letting the shoulders fall nice and heavy. Taking some nice, long, smooth breaths. As we start to settle into the awareness of our breath, we may notice just a little roughness in the breath, and just bringing a little bit more awareness to the breath, you may be able to smooth it out a little bit more. Invite ease. And when we can practice physically doing this with our breath, it sort of reflects back to the mind little by little. Feeling the ribs on the back body expanding, the belly expanding. And reminding yourself here that as we move our bodies within our yoga practice, our asana practice, we're not just strengthening our bodies, we're not just stretching our bodies. Not that that is not valuable. But here we're really allowing ourselves some time to learn about ourselves, to explore ourselves, body, mind, heart. And one of the practices within our yoga practice is ahimsa, non-harming. So just because we are stretching and moving and strengthening our bodies, it doesn't mean that we have to work too hard. A little bit of work is great and can feel really good. But there's a fine line. And when we cross over that line, we can feel to our bodies like we're harming ourselves. And then we don't reap the benefits of the practice. So as we move our bodies, seeing if you can practice in this space of non-harming. And that does not mean not working hard. That does not mean not challenging yourself. Often in those moments of hard work and challenging ourselves, we're really supporting ourselves. So it can mean a little bit of work, but it can also mean honoring moments of rest. So taking that into account as we move our bodies today. Taking a nice deep breath in and out. Now again, you may be seated if you're not comfortable on your knees here, and that's wonderful. Or slowly, if you're in child's pose, start to roll your spine up. If you're seated, just slowly take your arms to the side. And then as we lift through the crown of the head, we'll guide our arms up, lengthen through the spine. And as you exhale, release, come back into your child's pose, or if you're seated, release your arms beside you. Take a nice breath in and out. And again, slowly unraveling yourself up as you lift your torso, lift your arms up, lifting, reaching. And with your exhale, slowly folding forward, releasing, settling. And let's just take that one more time, rolling yourself up with a nice inhale, arms lift up overhead. And with your exhale, settling back down. Take your time, perhaps take a few little sways from side to side here. Good, and then nice and slowly come on up to your hands and your knees. Find a tabletop position. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, and we'll move through some cats and cows. So spreading your fingers nice and wide here. Inhale, lift your heart, arch your back. Exhale, round your back, tuck your chin. Gently moving back and forth through your cats and cows, lubricating your spine. Now I can't see everyone's names from here, but I'm pretty sure I know everybody. Just in case I don't, if you're new to me, I am moving through an injury. I broke my wrist over the holidays. So there are some things, some poses, some shapes that I will modify and adjust for myself. And you will do the same for your body. So if there's anything that you're moving through in your body and also in your mind, adjust or change the shapes to support yourself today. Let's come back to a nice neutral spine. Now from here, I'm going to send the weight towards the left side. Gently lift your right knee up and start to draw a few little circles with your right knee. Just lubricating that hip joint a little bit. Those circles may be small and perhaps a little bit bigger if that's feeling good for you. I get a lot of cricks and cracks, just some sounds through my hips. Sometimes I don't feel any sensation with that and it's fine. Other times, if I have a popping sensation, I just want to decrease the size of that circle a little bit more. Let's switch directions. Good. Lots of breathing here. And let's lower that right knee down and we'll take the other side. So gently shift your weight a little bit more towards your right side. Lighten up on your left knee and start to draw those tiny little circles. Just noticing what mobility is available. You may want to increase the size of those circles. Again, noticing our body is allowed to make sounds, especially at our joints, right? We can have those little cricks, little cracks, if you have that uncomfortable popping feeling in the hip, just decrease the size of your circle. Switch directions and know that it's really normal. You're not weird. Your hips are not weird. It's very, very normal. Good. And let's release that left knee back down, coming into our tabletop position. Let's reach our arms forward as we lengthen our spine and drop our chest between our shoulders in a puppy pose. And once you're there, just sway your hips gently from side to side, warming your spine up, softening through your jaw. Lots of nice, full, deep breaths. Good. Now from this puppy pose, root your forearms down, press your palms down, pull your chest forward, and lower your hips down, coming into a Sphinx pose. Feel free to adjust yourself so your elbows are right below your shoulders, and lift your heart forward. Find a little bit more length in the back of the neck, a little bit more ease in how we hold our head, our jaw. Breathe. Reaching your heart forward as you lengthen your tailbone. And then let's slowly lower down. From here, push back up through to your hands and your knees. And you can stay on your hands and your knees, or you can lift into a downward facing dog. Or if you'd like, you can reach your arms forward and take a puppy pose instead, where we just were. So I'm just going to lift up into a downward facing dog. Again, you take your variation, maybe hands and knees, maybe tabletop. It's a lot of pressure on the upper half of your body here. So if it's not working for you today, don't beat yourself up. Lengthen your spine. Take some nice deep breaths here. Let's pedal out. Add a little bit of movement. Bend into one knee and the other. Sway your hips. Shake out your head. Any movement there that feels good. Breathing nice and steady. Good. Now from here, let's lift our right leg up towards the ceiling. Just take a moment to find some length, reaching that leg nice and long. And then we'll draw those same circles with our knees. So as you bend your knee, pull your knee in towards your body, open up. And just start to draw a few circles with that knee. If you're noticing that's too much pressure, come down to your hands and knees where we once were. Good, and then switch directions. Again, you can always decrease the size of the circle if you have that popping feeling in your hip. Good, and then reach that right leg up nice and long one more time. And then lower your right foot back down. Take a few moments. You may want to lower your knees. Just take a nice breath. And then we'll take the other side. So anchor your right foot down, lift your left leg up. Take a moment to reach that leg nice and long, stretching towards the ceiling. And then we'll draw those circles. So bend your knee, rotate the hip open. Again, if you're noticing that's too much pressure on your shoulders or your wrists, you can lower that right knee down. Again, one side of our body might be a little bit different, so don't worry. Switch directions. Check out your head, breathe. And then lift that left leg nice and long, reaching up towards the ceiling. And lower that left foot down to meet your right foot. Take a moment, breathe in your downward facing dog. And then start to ripple your spine forward. Pull yourself forward into a plank. Feel free to take your plank from your hands and your feet, or you can lower your knees down, hands and knees, or come on down to your forearms and your feet, or your forearms and your knees. Whichever variation of a plank you're in, just give yourself some time to feel that strength, that challenge in the body. Breathe. Good, and then lowering your knees down, lower down to your belly. Take a moment, breathing the body down. From there, find your palms beside your ribs and gently lift your heart forward in a nice low cobra. You can stay in a nice low cobra, or if you prefer, you can keep your forearms down in your Sphinx pose, just giving yourself a little bit more of a foundation to support lifting your chest up. And if you want to come a little bit higher in your cobra, go ahead. Breathing deeply, shoulders on the back body, and then nice and slowly lower back down. Push up through the hands and knees. Again, stay on your hands and knees. Lift into downward facing dog or take your puppy pose. Taking a nice deep breath there. And nice and slowly ripple your spine forward. Find your plank. Again, whichever variation you choose to take. I'll be on my forearms for my plank. You can also put your palms down if you prefer. I'm just here for my wrist and also for variety. Good, and then lower down to the belly from your hands and your knees or your hands and your feet. Pressing your forearms or your palms down, lift your heart in a nice low cobra, high cobra, or if you'd like, upward facing dog, pressing the tops of the feet down with your palms down and lifting the knees. I'm going to stick with Sphinx. Breathing your heart forward, lengthen the back of your neck. I just like to, sometimes in my back bends, just to remind myself to loosen up the head and the neck. Just find a little bit of movement there, a little bit more ease. And then let's slowly lower down from here. Push up through to your hands and your knees. Stay there or take puppy pose or lift up and back into your downward facing dog. A moment to really lengthen your spine, anchor into the body, breathing. And then nice and slowly start to tiptoe or walk your feet forward to your hands, bending your knees in that transition as much as you'd like. Hang nice and heavy over your legs. Let your head go. Shoulders fall nice and heavy. Give your head a shake. Remind yourself to let it go. Breathe. And then taking a deeper bend into your knees. Take your time. Slowly start to roll yourself up, bringing yourself up to stand. Head comes up last. Anchor yourself through your feet. Gently lift out of your pelvis, shoulders on the back body. And let your arms rest where they feel best here. You can have the arms beside you or hands on hips or hands at heart center. Working through a little bit of balance here. So you could also have your hand on a chair or a wall or a table. We'll slowly start to shift our weight into our left foot. Lighten up on your right leg and we'll draw those same hip circles. So same hip circles, just a different relationship to gravity. So you may experience a different sensations. You can keep those circles small or a little bit bigger. And you can let that foot touch down at any point if balance is challenging the body. Good. And then seeing if you can switch directions. One direction may be a little bit easier to coordinate than the other. That's okay. Good. And then we'll let that settle. Release your right foot down. Just take a moment. Let those feet settle. Notice how the body just sort of adjusts to accommodate, oh, now I have 2 feet. The center of gravity changes. Let's shift our weight into our right foot, lighten up on the left foot. And again, those circles. So the circles may be really small. You may want to touch your foot down in between if you'd like. And you can increase the size of the circle if that's available. And again, noticing if you have that popping or cracking in the hip. If you don't feel uncomfortable sensation, it's fine. If the popping does feel uncomfortable, just decrease the size of your circle. Take the circles a little bit less to the side and more forward. Switch directions. Good. And then we'll slowly lower that left foot down, and we'll find Tadasana mountain pose. You can keep your feet hip width apart or take the feet wider, or if you'd like, big toes touching, heels a sliver apart. And from there, we'll take a nice big stretch up, reaching up, lengthen the spine, connecting the palms at center. Exhale, bow forward over the legs. Take a moment, let the head release. Find your palms to your shins, reach your heart forward, lengthen your spine in a halfway lift. You could also choose to take your hands to your thighs or your hands on up to a prop, a yoga block or a chair, whatever you're using today. And then with an exhale, let's fold forward, root your palms back down, step back into your plank. Hands and knees, hands and feet, forearms and knees or forearms and feet. Lengthening your spine. Nice big breath. Exhale, lower down to the belly, hands and knees or hands and feet. Reaching your heart forward into your back bend, Sphinx, low cobra, high cobra, or upward facing dog. And with an exhale, as you lower back down, come on up through to hands and knees. Staying there or lifting up into downward facing dog or lowering those knees and reaching the arms forward in a puppy pose. Take a nice deep breath in. From this down dog, let's really root our left foot down. Reach your right leg up towards the ceiling. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Find length. And then lower that right leg down, left side, left leg reaches up, reach, 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 reach. And lower that left foot back down. Slowly lift up onto the balls of the feet. Tiptoe walk or step your feet forward to your hands. Take a moment, hang heavy. Let the head go. Find your palms to your shins, reaching your heart forward, lengthen your spine as you exhale, fold. Take a nice inhale, sweep the arms up, bring yourself up to stand. And exhale, finding your Tadasana. With a big inhale, reach up, lengthen your spine. Connect your palms through center, bow forward over your legs. Finding your palms to your shins, your thighs, or a prop, reaching your heart forward as you exhale, rooting the palms down, stepping your feet back, find your plank. Nice big breath in. Exhale, lower down to the belly, hands and knees or hands and feet. Inhale, lift your heart, your back bend, Sphinx, low cobra, high cobra, or up dog. Exhale, lower down, push up through the hands and knees. Tuck your toes, lift into down dog or stay in table or lower your knees down, reaching your arms forward in your puppy pose. Breathe steady. Good. Whichever variation you're in, experiment lifting that right leg up, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And lowering that right leg down, left leg lifts up, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And lower that left foot back down. From here, inhale, lift up onto the balls of the feet. Bend the knees, tiptoe walk, step or hop your feet forward to your hands. Take a moment to hang. Head releases. Palms come to the shins, reaching your heart forward, lengthen your spine as you exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, bringing yourself to stand. And exhale, back through to Tadasana. With a nice inhale, guide the arms up, lengthen. Connecting your palms, bow forward over your legs. Palms to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and step your right leg back behind you and land on the ball of your right foot here. Moving towards a crescent lunge. If having that back knee lifted feels too much, lower it down and feel free to pad up that back knee. If the floor feels far away from you, place your hands on an elevated prop. So maybe a block, maybe a couple pillows, whatever you're using today, or some books. Reaching your heart forward as you lengthen your spine here. And you can stay with your hands down, or if you'd like, come on up to your thigh. Engage your belly. Think of lengthening your tailbone. From there, maybe lift your arms up overhead. So feeling that subtle lift out of your left hip flexor. Gaze is steady. Breathe. Now from here, experiment with gently bending that back knee. Maybe it just gently taps the mat, maybe not. And then lengthen that leg. Again, bend the knee, lengthen the leg. 2 more times. Bend the knee, lengthen the leg. Feel that leg sort of fire up a little. Bend the knee and lengthen the leg. Now from here, straighten your front leg. Lift the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend back into that front knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. 1 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Now this time, lift up and pivot your back foot flat to find warrior 2. Front heel lines up with your back arch. Left knee is tracking over toes. Really engage that back kneecap and press through the outer line of that leg. Shoulders are soft. Now from here, press through your feet. Lift and lengthen that front leg. Lift the arms up. Exhale, come back into warrior 2. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. 1 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. From there, flip your left palm up, lengthen back, reversing your warrior. Very little weight in that backhand. Let your top shoulder soften. Now from here, straighten your front leg and bend. Straighten the front leg and bend. 2 more. Lengthen and bend. Lengthen and bend. Come back through to warrior 2. Cartwheel your hands down to meet your front foot. Pivot onto the ball of your back foot and step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Take a moment to release, hang nice and heavy. Find your halfway lift, reaching your heart forward with a nice inhale. As you exhale, fold forward, step your left leg back behind you and set yourself up for your crescent lunge. So feel free to lower that back knee down if need be, and you can also pad that knee up. Feel free to place your hands up on a prop. Take a moment to have that right knee tracking over your toes as you lengthen through your waist. Stay with your hands down, or if you'd like, come on up to your thigh. Now think about what's happening with that front hip flexor. Stay there, or slowly lift the arms up. Can we feel that little creation of space in that front hip flexor? Settle the shoulders, soften and steady your gaze. Good. Now from here, a little bend in that back knee. Maybe it's a small bend. Maybe you gently tap that knee down. Maybe not. And then lengthen that back leg. Bend and lengthen. Bend and lengthen. Bend and lengthen. Stay here. Back leg is really active. Lengthen your front leg and bend. Lengthen that front leg and bend. 2 more, lifting up and down. 1 more, lifting up and down. Now this time, lift up, pivot your back foot flat and find yourself in warrior 2 with your front heel in line with your back arch. And just make sure we're really active through that back leg. So press your heel down, or press the outer edge of your foot down, engage your knee. Front knee is tracking over your toes. And then from there, as you press through your feet, inhale, lift the arms up, lengthen your front leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Really active. So as you lift, think of lifting your quadricep up. Good. Now stay in your warrior 2. Flip your right palm up, lengthen back, reverse your warrior. Settle the top shoulder and very little weight in that back hand. And again, lengthen that front leg and bend. Lengthen that front leg And then as you're lengthening, think of really pulling that thigh muscle up. One more time. Good. Come back here to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down. Pivot onto the ball of your back foot. Send your weight into your front foot and step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Take a moment to hang nice and heavy over your legs. Head releases. Find your palms to your shins. Lengthen your spine. Exhale, root your palms down. Step back to your plank. Take a moment there. Establish your plank. Lower down to the belly, hands and knees, hands and feet. Or if you practice chaturanga, go ahead, just take that with care. Lifting your heart forward into your back bend, Sphinx, low cobra, high cobra, or up dog. And as you exhale, lower down, push up through the hands and knees, stay there. Or lift into downward facing dog, or lower those knees down in a puppy pose. Stay here, or if you'd like, lift that right leg up. Find length, reaching your right toes up towards the ceiling. And then lowering that right foot down. Again, stay there, or lift your left leg up. Pressing evenly through your palms so those shoulders are squared off. And then lower that left foot back down. Take a nice big breath in. And as you exhale, lift up onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees, tiptoe walk, or step your feet forward to your hands. Hang nice and heavy over your legs, let your head go. From here, find your palms to your shins, reach your heart forward, lengthen your spine, halfway lift. As you exhale, fold, step your right leg back behind you and turn your body towards the long side of your mat. So the legs are nice and wide. Make sure your heels are in line. Big toes are slightly pigeon-toed in. Outer edges of your feet are parallel to your yoga mat. From here, walk your fingertips forward. Press your hips back, reaching your chest forward as you lengthen your spine. Hips are moving back in space. Nice big breath. As you exhale, come through to a forward fold. So you may have your palms down. Go ahead and root your palms down, or place your hands up on a prop, whatever it is you're using today. Or you can feel free to let the arms dangle, maybe even hold on to opposite elbows if they're not reaching the floor. Let your head go. Good. Now from here, we'll bend into the knees. And then think of lifting the hips up as the legs lengthen. Bend into the knees. Lifting the hips up. One more bend into the knees. And then lifting the hips up. Walk your hands towards the left toes. Turn the left toes to face the front of the mat. Pivot onto the ball of your back foot and step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Hang heavy, head releases. Find your halfway lift. Exhale, fold and step your left leg back behind you. Turn towards the long edge of your mat. This time, heels in, toes out. And just take some time to organize yourself there. We don't have to have the toes out towards the sides directly, just a little bit of a turn out there. Fingertips are down on the ground or on a prop. Bend into the knees, allow the hips to lower and lengthen. Lower and lengthen. So really wide-legged, almost a version of a malasana there. Just make sure your knees are tracking over your toes. So the toes can always be a little bit more narrow. Let's just take one more. Good, and then walk your hands towards the direction of your right toes, turning your right toes to the front. Pivot onto the ball of your back foot, and then step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Hang nice and heavy. Find your palms to your shins, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, fold and step your right leg back behind you, landing on the ball of your right foot or lowering that right knee down. Hands can stay down, or you can lift and rise into your crescent lunge. Take your time to find that. Steady your gaze. Stay here or bend the back knee and lengthen. Bend and lengthen. Bend and lengthen. Bend bend, and lengthen. Stay here. Lift the front leg and bend. And lift and bend. Lifting that thigh and bend. One more. Lift and bend. Lift, open warrior two. Organize yourself so we feel really stable in the pose. And then lift the arms, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Stay. Reverse your warrior, reaching that left arm up and back. Very little weight in that back hand. Stay or straighten your front leg and bend. And lengthen and bend. Soften the shoulder, lengthen and bend. One more. Lengthen, bend. Come back through to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to meet your front foot. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot and gently lower your back knee down to your mat. Again, support that back knee if you need to. Roll, double up your mat or place a pillow or towel underneath your knee. And feel free to have your hands up on a prop, so a yoga block or some pillows. Take both hands to the inside of your left leg. Heel toe your left leg out a little bit wider. Give your hips some space. And let's just draw a few circles there with our hips. Allowing the hips to be aware of that space that they have. One direction and then the other direction. Good, and then stay at center. You can stay with your hands on a prop or palms down, or come to one forearm or both forearms. Nice full breaths. Good, and then slowly bringing yourself back up. Tuck your back toes. Heel toe that left knee back in line with your hip. Tuck your back toes, lift the back knee and step your back foot forward. Take a moment and then find your palms to your shins. Reach your heart forward, lengthen your spine halfway, lift. Exhale, fold and step your left leg back behind you. Set yourself up for your crescent lunge. Feel free to keep those hands down. Feel free to lower that back knee down. Lifting out of your waist as you reach through your fingertips. Stay here or bend the back knee and lengthen. Bend and lengthen. Bend and lengthen. One more, bend and lengthen. Stay here or straighten and bend. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. One more. Lift and lower. Lift to open into warrior two. Anchor yourself, heel to arch alignment. Feel stable. And then lift everything up and bend. Warrior two. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Stay. Reverse your warrior. Lifting up and back. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Stay or lengthen the front leg and bend. Lengthen, soften that shoulder and bend. Lengthen and bend. One more. Lengthen and bend. Come back through to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands down to meet your front foot. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. Gently lower your back knee down. Feel free to support that back knee. You can place padding underneath your knee and then bring hands to the inside of your right leg. Heel toe your right foot out a little bit wider. Give your hips some space. Hands can be up on an elevated prop. And then let's just slowly draw a few circles with the hips. It may feel a little bit awkward. Sometimes moving our hips in different, when our body's in different shapes than we're used to can feel a little bit awkward, but that's okay. Good, just feeling a little bit more space and then switch directions. Again, the knees allowed to move. Don't have to stay stuck in any specific alignment. Good, come back to allow the hips to settle. You can stay at your hands or hands on a prop or come down to one forearm or both forearms, just letting those hips lower there. Breathe. Good, and then nice and slowly, let's come back up. Heel toe that right foot back in line with your hip. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Let your head go. Now from here, gentle bend to your knees. Slowly take your time. Start to roll yourself up, allowing your head to come up last. As you lengthen out of your waist, allow your shoulders to settle and soften. Slowly starting to shift our weight into our left foot. Steady your gaze. Bring your hands to heart center or hands to waist. Play with the idea of lifting your right foot up. And let it touch down at any point. Good. Stay with that, or find your right hip rotating open. Take the sole of the foot to the inside of your calf or inside of your ankle, keeping your foot down, or come up to your calf, or if you'd like, come on up to the thigh, exploring a tree pose here. Lengthening out of your waist, you can keep your hands at heart center or guide the arms up. And just feel the power that this pose can invoke, this opening, this blooming. How does that feel in your body? How does that support you? Good, and then slowly let's lower back down. Don't worry if you topple. Always offering yourself a little bit more kindness, a little bit more forgiveness. Practicing not hurting ourselves with those thoughts of perfection. And slowly start to shift our weight into our right foot. Lighten up on your left foot. And feeling free to stay there and letting that left foot touch down at any point, or allowing a little bit of rotation, rotating that left hip open, keeping your foot down, or take the sole of the foot up to the calf or come up to the thigh. Now as the foot presses into the thigh, let the thigh press back. So there's this tension. Hands can stay at heart center or lift the arms up. And again, just allowing yourself some space and some time to feel what this pose invokes for you. There's this opening, this blooming, this powerful feeling. And no matter what happens within the pose, can we practice that kindness, that forgiveness? Good, and from there, let's slowly lower that left foot down. Feel your feet connected down to the ground. Lengthen through your spine, soften the shoulders, soften the jaw. And then gently again, start to shift your weight into your left foot and lighten up on your right foot. Again, feeling free to stay here or find your tree pose. Kickstanding, coming to the calf or coming up to the thigh. Keep your hands at heart center or your hands at your waist. We'll be here just for a moment. Lift up and out of your waist. And then start to release your foot. Send your right knee forward. Shift your torso forward. Send your right leg back. Land on the ball of your right foot. Lifting the arms up. Don't worry if you topple or tumble. Practice forgiveness. We're not looking for perfection. Breathing here. Slowly lower your hands down to meet your front foot. Lower that back knee down. Reach your heart forward. Good. Just take a moment. And then tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee. Shift your weight forward. Start to bring your back foot to meet your front foot. Hang heavy. Slowly take your time, rolling yourself up. As you lift your heads, just steady your gaze. Shift your weight into your right foot. Lighten up on your left foot. Allow yourself to explore your tree pose, kickstanding, coming to the calf or coming up to the thigh. Again, keep your hands at heart center or your hands at your waist, or hands can be on a wall or a chair. We're here just for a moment. And then we'll start to release the foot if it was attached. Take your knee forward. Shift your torso forward. Left leg shifts back as we land on the ball of that left foot. Lift your arms up overhead. And with an exhale, release your hands to frame your front foot. Lower your back knee down. So allow yourself to sort of shift that left knee back so we feel a lot of length in that front quad. Breathing here, reaching your heart forward. And then we'll tuck our back toes, lift our back knee, send your back foot forward to meet your front foot with a sense of ease. Release, let your head go. From here, turn your heels out and your heels in and your toes out, and just take a moment, let your hips gently shift from side to side. And you may want to place your hands on an elevated surface. Let's just gently bend into the knees tracking over your toes. With your hands elevated, you may want to stay there, or perhaps there's some space and you might want to shift the hips a little lower. I just sometimes like to sway a little from side to side, just adding a little bit more mobility. When you like, you can slowly lower into Malasana. Again, you can stay a little higher. You don't have to come all the way down. If the heels are lifted, it's normal. You can place a couple pillows or roll that towel or blanket underneath your heels to feel grounding. And bring your hands to heart center. Or again, you may be up a little higher with your hands on a block. And just gently start to lift out of your waist a little bit more. Breathe into your belly. One more breath. Good. And then wherever you are, we're going to come down to our back. So come on down in the easiest, most supportive way possible. So I'm just going to take the hands behind me, lower the hips down, take the knees forward, and slowly roll down. Hug your knees into your chest. Give your knees a good little squeeze. And a few little rocks from side to side. Now we're going to move through bridge pose here. We're going to take 2 bridge poses. Now I'll give you options for your bridge pose. In the second variation, I'm actually going to take supported bridge and stay there for a few breaths. So look around your house right now, and if you have yoga blocks, grab yoga blocks. If you have a rolled up towel, grab that, or a pillow. We're going to be in the pose for a few breaths, so I'd love it to be supported. So grab whatever prop you have around your house to place underneath your hips. I'm going to grab a block and place it on the medium height. I recommend medium or low height for that. The high height can just be a bit too aggressive for the spine. But our first bridge pose, we're not going to use the prop. We're just going to explore that strength in our body. So root your feet down with your knees up towards the ceiling. Press your palms beside you. Tilt your hip points towards the ribs and roll through your spine to lift those hips up. You can keep your palms beside you or interlace your fingers behind your back, or press your elbows down, fingertips up, or reach your arms up overhead. You can have your feet a little bit further forward or wider, or a little bit more narrow or closer to the body, depending on what's supportive for your knees and where we can really allow our glutes and our hamstrings to do the work here. Those big muscles get to work. And they love working. They love supporting the smaller muscles in our bodies, in our joints. So give them that opportunity to work. Not always easy, but it's really a really kind thing to do to your body, to support those big, big muscles that are going to help support the structure of our skeleton. Take another deep breath in. And out. Roll through your spine. Release the hips down and just take a moment. And then get your prop. So gather whatever it is you're using. And we're going to gently lift the hips up and scoot that prop underneath your hips. So it should feel like a shelf for your hips here. So you want to adjust that prop so it feels like a nice little shelf for your hips to rest on. And I'm going to take my arms into cactus position beside me, palms up towards the ceiling. You can also have the arms up overhead if that feels better or closer to your body. Just going to shift a little. And then heel toe your feet a little bit wider, perhaps as wide as your mat, and let your knees knock in at center. With the body feeling really supported here, breathe. Simplify and just simply breathe. One more nice deep breath. Good. And you can use your hands to support you or just gently allow those knees to open. Heel toe your feet back underneath your hips. Gently lift the hips just in order to remove your prop and let your hips lower down. Take a moment. And then when you're ready, hug your knees into your chest. Give your knees a good little squeeze and a few little rocks from side to side. And you can stay with this, or you can slowly transition yourself into a happy baby. So bending the knees with your bottoms of your feet up towards the ceiling. You can hold on to the backs of your thighs, your calves, or the outer edges of your feet. Let your hips lower down, knees towards the outer edges of your ribs, towards your armpits. Nice deep breath in and out. And we'll slowly release, bringing yourselves up to sit here. So you can either roll to the side or give yourself a few little rock and rolls forward and back on your spine. Getting a nice little massage. And then come on forward. Onto sit. So sit up on something. Maybe roll up the back of your yoga mat or use a towel or blanket like I am. And we will sit in Baddha Konasana. So take the soles of your feet together with your knees open to the side. Feel free if the bottoms of your feet are sensitive to place something underneath your feet if you're not on your mat. Knees open nice and wide. Have the feet closer to you or further away from you, depending on what's supportive and available. Fingertips behind you. Reach up and out of your waist, and maybe you want to stay right here. This is beautiful. You can also support those knees by placing something soft underneath them so they feel a little bit more supported if it feels like you're hanging a little bit in the joint. So you can stay with your hands behind you or come forward, hands to your feet, lift up, and perhaps gently tilt forward. Maybe taking your elbows to the inside sides of your thighs to just gently allow those thighs to rotate open a little bit more. Lengthen the back of your neck, maybe give your head a little bit of movement. See if you can let your breath lengthen a little bit more. Good. Slowly start to bring yourself up. Keep your left knee where it is. Hug your right knee into your chest. Extend your right leg nice and long. Sole of the left foot to the inside of the thigh, or bring it a little further forward. Fingertips behind you as you open, lift out of your waist. Feel free to stay there or slowly start to bring yourself forward. Maybe take your hands beside your body or hands to thigh or calf or foot, or use your towel, your strap, whatever you're using today, around the ball of your foot. Another useful prop can be a block. If you feel you want a little bit more length, you can place a block on the outside of your foot. I don't even know if you can see that. Place a block on the outside of your, or the sole of your foot, and reach forward. Take a nice breath. Good, and then nice and slowly come back up to center. Bend your right knee. Right sole of the foot meets the left, and then take the left leg nice and long for Janushrishasana. Fingertips behind you, lift up and out of your waist. Slowly turn your body towards that left leg. Stay upright or slowly start to bring yourself forward. Just see if you can open up that space between your ribs and your hip points a little bit more. Lengthen the back of your neck. And slowly start to come back up. Lovely. And let's slowly find our way back down to our back. So take any final movements there that you'd like to take. Wiggle out those legs if you'd like. And then in the easiest way possible, come on down to your back. Nice little hug. Bringing the arms into a nice wide T position beside you. Slowly shift your hips to the left, knees to the right. Nice big breath in and out. Knees come through center. Shift your hips to the right, knees drop to the left. Settle the shoulders. Nice big breath in and out. Bring the knees back through to center and prepare for your final posture, Shavasana. So if there are any socks or sweaters you'd like to put on, go right ahead. And then find the most comfortable position for your body to rest in today. Perhaps you'd like a corpse pose, legs extended, arms extended, eyes closed, or Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees open to the side, or constructive rest, soles of the feet to the outside of the yoga mat, knees fall in at center. Or feel free to curl up into a fetal position, lie on your side or your belly. Feel free to support yourself with any props, blankets, pillows, or rest in a soft bed or couch. Once you find that place where you'd like to really rest your body, allow your eyes to softly close or soften your gaze. Breathing nice and slow and steady. Relaxing your toes and your feet, your legs and your hips, your belly and your chest, your shoulders and your arms, your hands and your fingers. Releasing some tension in your neck, your jaw, the space between your eyebrows, your forehead, and rest. And slowly begin to bring a greater awareness to your body and the space around you. Perhaps invite your breath to deepen, or invite a little bit of movement back to your body. Maybe wiggle your fingers, your toes, maybe take a really nice long stretch, arms up overhead, lengthening the legs. From there, in the easiest way possible, bringing yourself up to a nice, comfortable seated position. And we will end our practice together today. As you sit up really nice and tall, allow your shoulders to soften. Let your hands rest where they feel best, maybe on your body, beside your body, perhaps one hand at heart, one hand to belly, or hands at heart center. Take a moment to bow the head. And really thank yourself for taking the time to practice today, continuing to practice as you move through your day, knowing that this is not just a physical practice. And I thank you for sharing this part of your practice with me. Stay well. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was lovely as always to be with you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Oh, look, the gang's all together. I know everybody. That's great. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully I see you next week or on Friday. And yeah, otherwise you can always let me know if you have any questions or sharings. And I look forward to practicing with you again. Thank you.